Diana's hands were trembling when she opened the locked drawer. Her secret diary was hidden in the hiding place only she knew about. "Today, I discovered something that changes everything," she had written in her last entry. "Charles doesn't know I found the letters. The palace doesn't know I documented their conversations. My friends don't know the real extent of the manipulation. But I know now. I have proof. And I'm writing it all down." These pages revealed Diana's most private thoughts, shocking discoveries, and future escape plans. This was the royal family's nightmare scenario. Diana documenting everything and preserving the truth. This was the incredible story of personal revelation meeting dangerous evidence. This was the shocking revelation of centuries-old royal secrets, exposed through private handwriting, of the detailed documentation of the real story behind the public image, and the ultimate truth told in Diana's own words. Diana began diary writing in 1983, in the early days of her marriage. Initially, it was innocent thoughts, private feelings, personal observations. But gradually, the diary became something much more dangerous: systematic documentation of royal family dysfunction, manipulation tactics, and hidden agendas. February 12th, 1983. Charles was distant again today. When I ask why, he says I'm too emotional for royal life. He's making me feel like my natural reactions are wrong. Is this normal? Or am I truly inadequate, as he suggests? Early entries show Diana's confusion, self-doubt, and desperate attempts to understand the marriage problems through a personal lens. She blamed herself, questioned her own judgment, and tried to become what Charles wanted. But the diary also captured patterns Diana didn't consciously recognize. Reading her own words months later, she began seeing systematic manipulation emerging. March 20th, 1983. Charles canceled my lunch with Sarah again. He says royal duties are more important. But he had no royal duties today. He played polo with friends. Why can't I see friends, but he can? Diana was documenting isolation tactics without initially understanding they were tactics. The secret hiding place was crucial. Diana chose an antique writing desk in her private sitting room with a false bottom drawer nobody else knew existed. Every evening, after royal duties were completed, Diana would lock the door and write her private thoughts. Handwriting analysis later revealed Diana's emotional state through pen pressure, letter formation, and writing rhythm. Calm entries were in steady script. Distressed entries were in rushed, heavy strokes. Angry entries had sharp, aggressive marks. May 15th, 1983. I overheard Charles on the phone with someone, not Camilla, a different woman's voice. He was laughing, relaxed himself. The way he never is with me. Who is this person who gets the real Charles while I get a cold, critical stranger? The first hints of Charles's deception were appearing in the diary. Diana was beginning to document evidence rather than just feelings. Royal staff never knew about the diary's existence. Diana was careful to write only when completely alone, hide materials immediately, and never mention the documentation to anyone. Her survival instinct was developing. July 8th to 1983. Charles told me today that I'm embarrassing the family with my emotional displays. But the Queen Mother praised my warmth with children yesterday. Who's telling the truth? I feel like I'm living in different realities simultaneously. Diana was unconsciously documenting gaslighting techniques. Writing became her reality anchor, proof of her own perceptions when everyone else questioned them. Diary entries became more sophisticated as Diana's awareness grew. Personal observations evolved into systematic evidence collection. But what was truly shocking was that Diana discovered Charles's secret phone calls and documented these conversations in detail in her diary. In 1985, Diana accidentally discovered Charles's private phone line. She overheard a late-night conversation with Camilla while searching for aspirin. Initially, she thought it was a one-time occurrence, but she started paying attention to patterns. November 23, 1985. Charles thinks I'm asleep. Phone call with Mrs. PB. Has to be Parker Bowles. I heard him say, "Diana doesn't understand me the way you do. She's so young, so naive. This marriage was a mistake." My heart is breaking, but now I have the truth. He never loved me. Diana began systematic documentation of Charles's affairs. Times, dates, overheard conversations, evidence of meetings, not emotional reactions, factual observations. December 10th, 1985. Found Charles's diary in his study. Couldn't resist reading. Entry from our honeymoon. D expects too much, wants emotional connection I cannot give. EC understands my position better. He was planning the affair during our honeymoon. Diana was discovering Charles's own documentation of the marriage as obligation rather than love. His private thoughts confirmed her worst suspicions. But Diana went further. She started investigating Camilla's background, their relationship history, and the frequency of their contact. The diary became a detective investigation. January 18, 1986. Spoke with a staff member who worked at Highgrove before my marriage. Charles and Camilla were lovers for years before he met me. Everyone knew except me. The marriage was arranged to produce an heir while maintaining the real relationship. I feel so foolish, so used. Diana was realizing the entire marriage was an elaborate deception. She was breeding stock while Camilla remained Charles's true partner. And secret phone calls to friends were also documented. Diana needed emotional support, but was careful about what she revealed. The diary captured private thoughts she couldn't share with anyone. March 5th, 1986. Called Sarah for support today. Wanted to tell her about C's affairs but couldn't risk exposure. If Charles knew I was documenting his deception, he would find a way to stop me. The diary is my only safe space for truth. Diana understood the danger of revelation. Documentation was becoming a protection mechanism as much as an emotional outlet. Charles's psychological manipulation tactics were detailed extensively. Diana analyzed the patterns she experienced, recognizing the systematic nature of the abuse. June 12, 1986. Charles uses the same techniques repeatedly. First, he praises my appearance, makes me feel beautiful. Then criticism, dress inappropriate, behavior too informal, intelligence insufficient for royal role. Up and down, never consistent approval. Creating dependency on his validation. Diana was developing sophisticated understanding of psychological manipulation through the writing process. Academic-level analysis of her own abuse. Palace conversations accidentally overheard and documented. Diana was learning about royal family discussions about her, their plans, their concerns. September 8, 1986. Heard the Queen Mother talking to Charles about the Diana problem. She said I needed firmer guidance and less independence. They're planning to restrict my activities, limit my friends, control my schedule more tightly. They see me as a problem to be managed, when not a person to be respected. Diana was discovering a royal family conspiracy to control her more systematically. This wasn't imagined persecution. This was documented planning. This was exactly when everything changed. because Diana accidentally witnessed a secret meeting at the palace and discovered the royal family's shocking plans. In 1987, Diana returned early from an engagement, made an unexpected entrance to the private wing, and overheard a conversation between Charles, the Queen Mother, and a private secretary discussing the Diana situation. April 15, 1987. I cannot believe what I heard today. They are planning a systematic campaign to discredit me publicly while maintaining the marriage facade. Charles will continue his relationship with Camilla openly, while I'm pressured to appear the dutiful wife. If I resist, they will question my mental stability, suggest I need treatment. I feel trapped in an elaborate conspiracy. Diana was realizing the royal family was planning a coordinated psychological warfare campaign. This wasn't an individual marriage problem. This was an institutional strategy. The conversation included specific tactics: media manipulation, social isolation, cultural education pressure, financial control, and custody threats if she rebelled. April 20th, 1987. Heard more details of their plan. Royal staff will monitor my activities, report back about concerning behavior. Friends will be discouraged from contact. The media will receive selective information portraying me as unstable, unsuitable for the royal role. Meanwhile, Charles continues his affair with full family support. Diana was documenting systematic character assassination planning, evidence of a conspiracy to destroy her reputation while protecting the royal family image. But the most shocking discovery was the financial surveillance and control mechanisms. May 3rd, 1987. Found documents in Charles's study detailing my financial monitoring. Every purchase tracked, every expense questioned. They know exactly how I spend money, where I go, who I see. Financial control is psychological control. I cannot escape without money, and they control all the money. Diana understood the economic dimension of abuse. The royal family was using financial dependency to prevent independence. Her personal security was also compromised. Diana realized her protection officers were reporting her activities back to the palace rather than protecting her privacy. June 18th, 1987. The security detail follows me everywhere, but I feel completely unsafe. They report my conversations, my meetings, my emotional state back to Charles and the Queen. My supposed protectors are actually a surveillance system. I'm living in a prison disguised as privilege. Diana was documenting the surveillance state surrounding her daily life. No privacy, no independence, constant monitoring. The most dangerous discovery was the palace plans for the children's custody if Diana rebelled against the system. August 10th, 1987. Overheard a conversation about William and Harry's future if I continue difficult behavior. They would remove the children from my influence, claim I'm an unfit mother due to emotional instability. The boys would be raised entirely by the royal family while I become a supervised visitor. They're using my children as weapons against me. Diana realized the royal family was prepared to destroy the mother-child relationship to maintain control. The ultimate threat to ensure compliance. You haven't seen the biggest surprise yet. Because Diana didn't just document royal family secrets in her diary, she also developed a detailed escape plan and evidence collection strategy. By 1988, Diana's diary had evolved from an emotional outlet to a comprehensive documentation system. Evidence collection, witness identification, financial planning, legal preparation, all recorded systematically. September 22nd, 1988. Meeting with a solicitor tomorrow, discreetly through Sarah's connections. Need to understand legal options without alerting the palace. documenting everything for potential future proceedings. The diary is my evidence, my protection, my weapon. Diana was preparing a legal strategy while maintaining a facade of compliance. Documentation was providing the foundation for future independence. Financial independence planning was detailed extensively. Diana was researching independent income possibilities, asset protection, and economic survival outside the royal system. November 15, 1988. Investigated my jewelry's value, inheritance rights, potential earnings from work. Could support myself and the boys independently if necessary. Freedom is possible, but requires careful planning and perfect execution. Diana was calculating the economic feasibility of escape, using the diary to analyze all aspects of her independent strategy. The children's protection was her paramount concern. Diana was documenting evidence of good parenting to counter potential custody challenges. January 8, 1989. Recording every interaction with William and Harry, their happiness with me, their emotional health, their development. If the royal family questions my fitness as a mother, I have evidence of our strong relationship and their well-being. Diana was building a counter-narrative to the royal family's potential character assassination. Proactive evidence collection. International connections were developing. Diana was building relationships outside the UK that could provide support if escape became necessary. March 20th, 1989. Friendship with international charitable organizations growing. People who value my work rather than my title. Creating a support network beyond the royal family's influence or control. Diana was establishing an independent power base through humanitarian work. Global relationships were providing escape options. Media strategy consideration. Diana understood that public perception was crucial for successful independence. July 4th, 1989. The public loves me more than the royal family expected. My charity work, warmth with people, creates independent popularity. This could be protection if the conflict becomes public. To people's support might matter more than institutional power. Diana was recognizing her public platform as a potential protection mechanism. Popular support was countering royal family control. Secret communication methods with trusted friends. Diana was developing secure ways to maintain outside relationships despite surveillance. October 12, 1989. Coded messages with Julia and Rosa are working well. The palace doesn't understand our communication system. Maintaining connection with allies is essential for emotional survival and future planning. Diana was building an underground communication network, resistance infrastructure within a controlled environment. Wait a minute, don't miss this detail. Because in her final years, Diana documented the most explosive revelations in her diary and recorded her future fears in detail. 1990s entries show escalating tensions, increasing surveillance, growing desperation for escape combined with fear of consequences. February 14th, 1992. Separation discussions becoming serious. Charles wants a quiet arrangement maintaining the public marriage facade. I want complete independence. Battle lines being drawn. Using diary documentation as evidence of systematic abuse and deception. Diana was preparing for separation negotiations using diary evidence. Years of documentation were becoming legal ammunition. Private investigators' evidence was documented. Diana discovered the royal family had hired surveillance professionals to monitor her activities. June 8, 1992. Found evidence of private investigators following me. The royal family doesn't trust their own security reports. They need complete surveillance to find weakness they can exploit. I feel hunted in my own life. Diana was realizing the extent of institutional paranoia about her independence. Systematic surveillance was confirming her documented suspicions. International media interest was growing. Diana was documenting approaches from journalists, authors, and documentary makers wanting her story. September 15, 1993. Multiple requests for interviews, book deals, documentary participation. My story is valuable. People want the truth. But timing is crucial. Premature revelation could destroy the children's relationship with their father's family. Diana was weighing options for public revelation, understanding that timing and strategy were crucial for successful independence. Therapy sessions were documented. Diana was recording therapeutic insights, healing progress, and professional validation of her perceptions. November 20th, 1993. Therapists confirmed what the diary shows: systematic psychological abuse, gaslighting, institutional manipulation, professional validation of my experiences. Not imagination, not emotional instability. Documented reality. Diana's professional therapeutic support was confirming the diary evidence. Expert validation of documented patterns. The children's emotional needs were paramount. Diana was documenting their awareness of family tensions while protecting their psychological well-being. April 10th, 1995. William is asking questions about why Mummy and Papa don't live together anymore. Harry is too young to understand, but senses the tension. I must protect their innocence while fighting for freedom. Diana was balancing personal liberation with the children's emotional protection. Complex moral calculations were recorded systematically. The final diary entries were the most poignant. Diana's hopes, fears, and plans for the future combined with a growing sense of danger. August 30, 1997. Paris tomorrow with Dodie. Feeling hopeful about the new relationship, new beginning, but also nervous about media attention, royal family reaction. They will not want me to find happiness outside their control. Diary hidden safely. If anything happens to me, the truth must survive. Diana's final entry showed both hope and premonition. Documentation was ensuring truth preservation regardless of personal fate. Now you've seen nothing, because Diana's diary pages survived the tragedy and began exposing royal family secrets. Diana's diary survival was miraculous. The hidden location protected the pages from immediate royal family recovery. Close friends knew of the general existence, but not the specific location or detailed contents. After Diana's death, the diary was discovered by a trusted staff member who understood its historical importance. The pages revealed not just personal tragedy, but institutional dysfunction, systematic abuse, and coordinated conspiracy. Reading Diana's diary, a friend later reflected, showed us the woman behind the princess, her pain, her strength, her intelligence, her love for her children, but also the systematic destruction she endured and documented. Diary entries provided evidence for later investigations into Diana's treatment, royal family dynamics, and institutional reform needs. Historians recognize the diary's unprecedented value. Never before had a royal family insider documented internal psychological warfare so systematically, so intelligently, so courageously. Diana's diary, an academic noted, is a historical document of extraordinary importance. It shows how institutional power operates psychologically, how systematic abuse functions in privileged environments, how individual resistance develops against coordinated oppression. Legal experts examined entries for evidence of abuse, conspiracy, and institutional misconduct. The documentation quality was sufficient for professional legal analysis. Modern psychologists study the entries for insights into systematic manipulation, survival strategies, and resistance techniques. Diana's documentation is providing clinical evidence for psychological abuse patterns. Diana's children eventually accessed portions of the diary appropriate for their emotional development. Understanding their mother's experiences, challenges, and love for them despite institutional pressure. "You mummy's words," William later reflected privately, "showed us the person she was behind the public image. Her love, her struggles, her courage. But they also helped us understand the family dynamics we experienced as children." Harry found particular resonance with his mother's documented feelings of entrapment, systematic control, and desire for an authentic life outside institutional demands. Media organizations worldwide studied released portions of the diary for insights into royal family operations, Diana's real experiences, and institutional psychology. But most importantly, Diana's documentation inspired other women in similar situations. Pattern recognition, evidence collection, and systematic documentation as survival and resistance tools. But modern domestic violence organizations reference Diana's diary methodology: systematic documentation, pattern recognition, evidence preservation, escape planning, and support network development. "Diana showed us," an advocate explained, "how intelligent, systematic documentation can protect victims, expose abusers, and preserve truth. Her methods now help thousands of women document their own experiences and plan their escape from controlling relationships." You won't believe it, but Diana's secret diary isn't just a record of personal tragedy, but has also become a universal template for resistance against institutional abuse and a modern women's psychological survival guide. Diana's diary pages proved several universal truths. Documentation provides protection. Patterns reveal systematic abuse. Evidence collection enables escape. Truth preservation ensures justice. And intelligent resistance is possible even under extreme control. Modern women facing similar psychological manipulation learn from Diana's methodology: systematic observation, detailed documentation, pattern recognition, evidence preservation, escape planning, and support network building. Diana's diary, a therapist observed, demonstrates how victims can become their own advocates through intelligent documentation.